Well, hey friends, it's me, Pastor Doug, with another word of encouragement for the day for today, Wednesday, April 13th. This week is Holy Week, and Holy Week commemorates the events and activities that take place during the final week of Jesus' life that culminate eventually with his death, burial, and ultimately his resurrection that we'll celebrate this Sunday on Easter. This week, we're exploring some of those events and some of those activities and some of the things that Jesus says during that final week. And today, we're going to look at the book of Luke, chapter 22, verses 1 through 6, which tells the story of Judas Iscariot's decision to betray Jesus. We read this. Now, the festival of unleavened bread, called the Passover, was approaching. And the chief priests and the teachers of the law were looking for some way to get rid of Jesus because they were afraid of the people. What that phrase means is they were actually afraid of all the attention that Jesus was getting, that was going to bring too much attention from Rome, and that Rome would step in and overstep their boundaries in terms of the power and the political power that these Jewish leaders held. And so that was really their primary concern. So we pick it up in verse 3. Then Satan entered Judas, called Iscariot, one of the 12. And Judas went to the chief priests and the officers of the temple guard and discussed with them how he might betray Jesus. They were delighted and agreed to give him money. He consented, and he watched for an opportunity to hand Jesus over to them when no crowd was present. So, the other Gospels provide some additional details related to the character of Judas. So the other Gospel writers point out that Judas was greedy, that he was selfish, that he was perhaps even dishonest, that he used to help himself to the finances, the group's finances. Luke doesn't let on any of those characteristics or any of those details. If we're just reading Luke's gospel, we don't see this coming, right? Sometimes when you're watching a movie, you're kind of trying to figure out who the bad guy is, right? And you're kind of getting some hints and glimpses along the way. But a really good movie, a really well done movie, or a really well done story, you're sort of surprised by who the bad guy really is when it's finally revealed. That's kind of the way that Luke creates this narrative account of Judas' betrayal, is you don't really see it coming until this moment. And as the reader, the goal is, I think, on the part of the author, Luke, inspired by the Holy Spirit, is that we as the reader would sort of be caught off guard and kind of shaken up by this reality that, wait a minute, Judas is one of Jesus's disciples. Now, we're informed readers. So you and I, most of us know the story. We know the name Judas. We know the name Judas Iscariot. We know that he's the betrayer. So every time that he shows up anywhere else, we already know who he is. But if you're reading Luke for the very first time and you get to this moment, the goal would be that we would be shaken up and surprised and shocked by the reality that one of Jesus's own disciples would betray him like this. How could he do it? That's sort of the intended reaction that we're to have. And friends, today, as we're smack dab in the middle of Holy Week and we are leading towards Good Friday and eventually Easter, I think it's important for you and I to pause for a moment today. Remove what we already know about Judas. Go back and read this passage and allow ourselves to be stirred and shocked and saddened and disappointed and even frustrated and confused by this fact that one of Jesus's own 12 disciples would betray him just for a sum of money. So friends, let's reflect on that for a moment, and we'll pick these videos back up tomorrow. We'll see you then.